guys, Mike ML556 here. I've started down a rabbit hole looking at benchtop magazine loaders for the AR-15. I'm in the middle of testing some binary triggers and I'm going through a lot of magazines, and I thought this would be a good time to look at that topic. I was out at Bullet Creek testing one of these triggers recently, and I ran through about 20 magazines and ran dry. And I really could have used one of these benchtop loaders out in the field. The problem is both of the loaders that I've looked at so far have some shortcomings. This plate design polymer loader was fairly unstable on the bench, and even when I was trying to load the rounds in, it was kind of spinning around on me. So that was one issue. Also, the pusher was really small and didn't feel like I had enough purchase on it to be comfortable. So I modified it by adding this handle. And then while this does have an area that kind of locks up the magazine pretty tight, there's really nothing to hold it in, and then there was nothing to really grab to push against when you're trying to load the rounds into the magazine. It is polymer, and so it would be weatherproof. It's light and fairly portable, so it would be an option for going out in the field. But it was also picky with magazines. It really wasn't nearly as smooth as the promotional video showed it to be. Now, the Mag Packer was a beautiful work of art as far as the woodworking goes. It was a gift, and I really like this. But it's large, it's made out of wood, so it's not really that weatherproof. And so it's not that portable and not that ideal for going out in the field. Also, the pusher is not attached, and so this would be easy to lose or misplace. It also was picky about magazines. It wasn't as smooth as the promotional videos would have you believe. There were magazines that loaded very smoothly, P-Mags loaded very smoothly, but new USGI magazines were a problem with this particular loader, as well as the plate design. This area where the magazine locks up, you still have to kind of grip and hold the magazine as you're loading this. So I certainly like this. It's a nice gift, and I'll use this in the shop. But out in the field, it doesn't seem to be that practical. Since Maglula makes some of my very favorite individual magazine loaders, and I was a little unsatisfied with what I'd seen so far, especially for a in-the-field use benchtop magazine loader, I thought I'd dig a little bit deeper down this rabbit hole. So I went ahead and bit the bullet, so to speak, and I ordered a range bench loader from Maglula. Now, of all these bench loaders so far, this is the most expensive. It's a little over $130. But Maglula makes really nice products, and I've been very pleased with what I've seen so far. And since we did have some issues with these other benchtop loaders, I thought that I'd give their design a try. So let's take a look. I'd like to point out some of the features of this bench loader that address some of our previous issues with the other designs we've tried. The pusher is captive, so you really can't lose this pusher, and that's very nice. Also, the profile of the pusher is much more comfortable. It's taller and rounded, so you can get more of a purchase on the follower as you're loading the magazine. It is very lightweight. It has this honeycomb polymer design. They've added 6 small rubber feet, so it's not scooting all over the bench as you're trying to put the rounds into the chute. There's actually a receptacle for the magazine, and to load the magazine, you just push it in like you would push it in an AR. And then to release the magazine, you lift up on the lever and pull it out. So that's a lot quicker and simpler as far as putting the magazine in position. And with this bar, it's going to hold the magazine in position. So that's one thing you really don't have to concentrate on. The other thing that I really like that it really didn't catch on right away until I used this a little bit is the design of this shelf right here. It's very rounded and smooth and comfortable, and it's designed for your hand. So as you're loading the magazine with the other loaders, it was kind of awkward to figure out what to grab hold of so you could push against yourself and feed the rounds into the magazine. And with this design, it's very natural, very comfortable. You've got a ledge right there. So the real question is, does this thing work as advertised? So I broke out the Maglula range bench loader, and before I knew it, I had 15 magazines loaded up. So I used M855 and M193 and Wolf ammunition. We have loaded the Lancer, L5s, have the old style Lancer magazine, an E-Lander, P-Mags, ETS magazines. Then I tried USGI, both used and a newer model. And what I want to do now is break out an absolute brand new USGI mag. And let's just see if that has any problems with this loader, since that was the magazine that gave us the most problems with our other benchtop loaders that we tried. So before I even could break the cameras out, I had already been through 15 magazines. I loaded them up, a variety of magazines, different types of ammunition, and had absolutely no problems as far as running into a magazine that was difficult to load with this loader. So now I thought what I'd do is let's give this a stress test. This is a brand new in the wrap military magazine. This is the type of magazine that gave our other benchtop loaders the most difficulty. So let's just see, we'll open it up and try one of these magazines and see how it feeds. So this is real life, guys. This isn't a promotional video. Let's just find out if we can make this thing choke on something. So the magazine snaps right in. That's very nice. Like I said, this ledge is really nice. You've got a large pusher handle built in. So let's just see how it goes. Also, I would say that these markings are very reassuring. I don't know, there's something psychological maybe about this 29 marker. You kind of feel like there's confirmation that you're right where you need to be. And notice that when I'm putting in these rounds, this thing isn't slipping all around the bench, okay, because of those nice rubber feet. So let's just see. We have a brand new out of the wrapper USGI magazine. Wow. Okay. Every magazine that I've loaded has been just about like that. It seems like it takes a lot less effort. There aren't any picky magazines. I'm not sure exactly why. I think this is just a design where when you lock the magazine in, this is determining exactly the position of the magazine. You're not just kind of hand fitting it like you do with the wooden ones, and you have something to hold on to, unlike the other polymer designs. And to release the magazine, that's 30 rounds. This is light. The pusher is not going to get lost. It's compact. It even comes with its own little bag if you want to put it in a bag. I guess this might protect it from getting gouged or scratched if you throw it around in your truck. This is magazine 16 now that I've loaded with this loader. Let's just load up 4 more magazines at least, and then I'll be able to take this out in the field, and if I run out of magazines, I'll be able to reload without much effort at all. Now, even though this is designed to basically capture the magazine real simply, it is open-ended, so you have the benefit of the open end allowing you to put in different kinds of magazines. This is ETS that has the little built-in coupling devices. You know, that might interfere in a different magazine loader. I don't think this would work at all in the wooden design that I had. You need an open end for magazines like this, but if you have an open end without a secure way of locking that in, then that can be a problem. And you need to have a place to grab, which this device provides very handily. I had a lot of duds with my last case of Wolf ammunition. That's the first time I've really had that kind of problem, but I'm going to give this new case a try and see if we still have those kinds of issues. So we have Wolf ammunition, an ETS coupling magazine. Takes very little effort. L5 Lancer magazine. Snaps right in. It's very secure. You know, there's a little bit of wiggle, but I'm thinking that that's kind of by design, and that actually may be what's allowing this magazine to feed so easily. I don't know. It just has done really well. So we're going to try Wolf ammo in the Lancer L5 magazine. Okay, so this is Lancer and Wolf, and this is magazine number 17. Let's just see. Nice ledge. You just basically are pushing against the ledge. You're not really doing a whole lot with the magazine, but it does give you a place to just hold this device steady. Okay, really easy. I am really liking this. 17 magazines. I'm just pulling out some different magazines. This is a Troy Battle Mag. It has this little pull on the floor plate. So obviously you need an open-ended benchtop loader. Nice thing is this one's open-ended, but it holds it in place very securely and easily. Okay, 30 rounds. Troy mag. Okay, now this is a brand new magazine. It's a polymer magazine, very smooth. I would say that required a little bit more pressure, but once again, this is a very stable device because you have a way to hold it stable, and it's got the feet stabilizing it as well. So very smooth. Now I'm digging through my magazine boxes just to see if we can't find different magazines to test in this loader. These are two Imperial Defense steel-bodied magazines, English magazines. This magazine has a braided spring which limits its capacity to 29 rounds. And that's actually really nice because I have a marker here that shows 29 rounds. So we'll go ahead and test these steel magazines just to see if we can't find something that causes a problem for this particular magazine loader. Snaps right in. Okay, Imperial Defense steel magazine. Oh, whoa, I pushed it too hard. That took very little effort. I could have used a lot less force and that would have just smoothly gone right in. Now we have an Imperial Defense magazine with a braided spring, 29 round capacity. Let's try this. This will be magazine number 20. Okay, I have 29 rounds now in this Imperial Defense steel magazine. I pushed softer this time because it went in so fast with the other Imperial Defense magazine, and very little effort. The rounds just went right in. Unsnap it. 29 rounds loaded. Easy peasy. Well, I miscounted somewhere along the way. I actually ended up with 21 loaded magazines. No sore thumbs. No problem magazines that were giving me a lot of resistance when I tried to use this benchtop loader. I have to say that Maglula, I think, has done it again. This is a little pricey, and not everyone needs a benchtop loader. But if you go through a high volume of magazines and you're going to spend the money, spend it wisely. I'm very impressed. I hope you found this information interesting and useful. If you did, please consider hitting the like button. If you have any questions or comments, as always, please post those and I'll try to respond to those in a timely fashion. Now, I still like my other wooden benchtop loader. It'll stay in the shop. It's a gift. And with the right magazines, it works very well. But I have to say, this device really gets the job done. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.